welcome to my channel. I'm Tina. This is the second video about Spring Security. I will talk about what kind of things Spring Security do and probably introduce a little bit of history, those things, okay, and features. Those. Okay, so what is Spring Security? First, it's part of the Spring Framework. It is one component of Spring Framework. We know Spring Framework is actually a big family, right? It has a Spring Core, Spring LP, Spring Data, Spring Boot, Spring Cloud, and Spring Security is one of the component or one of the projects. Okay, one of the projects. Okay, and what kind of features it provide? Basically, it provides two types of feature, and which is very critical for not only web applications and also for other standalone applications like authentication and authorizations. Authentication, you can think as you want proof you are the one you declared, okay? And authorizations is talking about what kind of things you can do, okay? Basically, authentication is proof who you are, and authorization is what you can do, okay? And we will also talk about more. We will have later slides talking about the authentication and authorization in future videos. Spring Security, you can integrate with HTTP Basic Access Authentication, which means when we have a web application, probably we're gonna have a form. The form is a login form. Okay, and then we input our username password and we will pass our username password to do the login. Okay, and it also can support with LDAP system, like a single sign-on system. But for both of the LDAP, single sign-on, I probably will not introduce. I will mostly focus on the basic authentication, access authentication. And the other one, if I have time, I will also introduce how to use Spring Security to support for RESTful application. Like when we have RESTful application, it's not good to use a session to do the authorization, right? A better way is using token-based authorization, and we can use JWT. If I have time, I will introduce, because if we want to go deep, it's better to use, we have to understand other things like Spring Cloud. Probably just introduce the basics about the token-based authentication and authorization. Okay, we will see. History. This project, Spring Security, started as 2003, and the name, the original name is called ASIGI. It's when I read the Wikipedia, it's very interesting how this project is being named. You can see from here. Let me open my marker pen. Okay, this is the name. We have so many projects, and in order to avoid, the name conflict. This project, this is the first letter A. We have A, B, C, D, E, F, G, right? This is the first letter A, and third letter C, and fifth letter E, and E, F, G. G is the seventh, and H, I, like those letters. Okay, total is 5. C, G. G or G. Okay. This is how to pronounce. And in 2007, it's been renamed to Spring Security. Actually, in the early stage of Spring Security, it's not very popular because there's another framework provided by Apache called Shiro. Okay, it's much easier and lightweight compared with the early age of the Spring Security. That's why Spring Security is not that popular at the beginning. Like 2008, the Spring Security 2.0, which is the first public release, and the current version is the 5.4.2. And when Spring Security getting more and more popular is when Spring Boot comes out, because Spring Security is kind of like a heavy framework. It requires lots of the configurations at the beginning. For people who use the Spring Security along without Spring Boot, you may have experienced those configurations you have to do, and sometimes it just doesn't work. I experienced that. Which before Spring Security, when we create when we're using Spring Plain MVC, right, and we want to add authentication and authorization feature, we use Spring Security, and we have a very long, XML configurations for Spring Security stuff, and sometimes that doesn't work. And we also need to figure out the right versions cooperate with other Spring dependencies. Okay, but since Spring Boot, Spring Security requires less configurations, and that's why Spring Security become more and more popular. So normally nowadays when we use Spring Security, the better combination is Spring Boot, Spring Security Plus, okay, or Spring Cloud, Spring Security. Okay, so for this playlist, I will only introduce the version is Spring Boot plus Spring Security. Okay. Some features about Spring Security, because it's a part of the Spring family, so we gain all the features which Spring family provided for us. Okay, and it have a comprehensive access control. This one I'm talking about, it has two levels of access control. One is URL based, and you can control this URL must to have this role, like a user. Only logged in user can access this URL. It also has method level authorization, which means you can using annotation secure or pre-authorize or post-authorize to check if in order to access this service method or reporter method or controller method, does this user has the right role, okay, like that. Designed for web, but not limited to web. I forgot since which version, probably Spring Security 4 or 5. Originally, Spring Security is only used for web applications, but since Spring 4 or 5, the core Spring Security core is moved out. So not only for web application, you can use the Spring Security. For other non-web application, you can also use the Spring Security, but it's designed for web applications. It's heavy. This one is from the code. From the coding part, you cannot see the heavy part, but actually Spring Security does lots of the things for you behind the thing. That's the heavy part, I think, comes from, okay? And Spring Security, it has many modules. We want to introduce all of them. Probably we will only use some of them. Like it has a core module, you can use it. It has a remoting, web we're definitely gonna use, and a config gonna use, and for others is suitable for different cases. Okay, and if you have other things you want to know about Spring Security, you can click this icon, and this icon will redirect you to the Spring Security documentation, and you can take a look at the documentation for the things you are looking for. Okay, and this video I just briefly talk about the Spring Security is, and we will see more like architecture, how the authentication flow is done, how the authorization flow is done, and the fundamental about the Spring Security. We will cover all the things I know, okay, about Spring Security. So thank you for watching this video. See you next time. Okay, bye bye.